In the beginning, there was darkness. Long before his feud with Zeus, Kratos was a servant to the gods. Tasked to rid the world of the darkness without, he would come to unleash his darkness within.
How's it going, guys? Voice of Reason here again, back for another edition of my video game reviews. And this week, I will be reviewing God of War Chains of Olympus. God of War Chains of Olympus came out on the PlayStation Portable on March 4th, 2008, and is probably recognized as one of, if not the most anticipated PSP game pretty much ever, I would say. Even though the PSP hasn't even been out for that long, but there was a lot of hype and a lot of anticipation for this game. First things first, let's start talking about the plot.
Is there nothing else?
God of War Chains of Olympus was approximately set 10 years before the original God of War game, which was released on the PS2. In Chains of Olympus, at the beginning of it, that is, the gods send Kratos to the city of Attica in order to help defend the city from the invading Persian army. He does that, he kills some people, kills a monster in the process, and one thing leads to another, and ultimately the sun god Helios has been captured, or what was it? He has apparently disappeared. And basically throughout the whole game you go through these stages trying to find Helios, or the story and the plot is pretty much a linear plot. There's not that many side stories, that is. It's just one thing after the other. One clue leads to other clues, that leads to other clues, and pretty much you end up facing an unknown character. Well, I do know it, but you're gonna have to play it or rent it if you want to find out who you battle off as the final battle. Overall, good plot. It has pretty much the elements as the other God of War games, and it works pretty well, especially and surprisingly even on the PSP. Now let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay for God of War Chains of Olympus is pretty much similar to its predecessors in that it is a third-person action-adventure game that pretty much emphasizes a lot of gore and violence, and yes, there is nudity. There's quite a bit of what others might say as boobage throughout the whole video game, and it's nice to see that throughout this whole series of God of War games, it doesn't put that much emphasis on nudity. It just makes it a norm for this time, and it does so very eloquently and effectively, and doesn't take away from the gameplay itself, so it's really good to see that. Also familiar to the series is the little box-based puzzles and the quick time events, which is fantastic, that the player can execute to display a close-up kill of the enemy. And like any other game, the more you progress, the more skills you acquire, and the more armor, the more equipment, and pretty much you just become a better fighter all around as you progress through the game. So nothing revolutionary in this game, but it just perfects it to the PSP level, and it does so very well, and which is why gameplay in God of War Chains of Olympus is such a high point for the game overall. Now let's talk about the graphics. Plain and simple, guys, these are one of the best graphics I've seen in a PSP in a long time. Now, of course, this is before I start playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core, but as of right now, I would probably have to say God of War Chains of Olympus is the most gorgeous game available on the PSP right now. Besides the gameplay, another key highlight of this game would be the graphics. I mean, yes, they're a little edgy and jagged, but the fact that they've compared this game to old PS2 games is just something else, and it should be recognized as a huge step forward for the PSP as a handheld console.
Take my kingdom, my women, my gold. I won't take your riches, but I will take your life.
In terms of negative criticism, I can hardly think of anything. One of the things that comes to mind is that the game is rather short. I completed the game and within about 6 to 7 hours, and that was when I was traveling a lot, and I let my brother or one of my friends drive while I played it and whatnot. But I would say it is kind of short, and oh man, I'm thinking. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else wrong with this game. It's what you've come to expect from the PSP titles, as well as even more. And it's a awesome addition to the God of War franchise. I do wish and hope that they will make more God of War games on the PSP, as well as hopefully on the PS3 that's coming out hopefully soon. Cross his fingers, you know. But yeah, God of War is one of the best, and OneUp.com gave the game an A, saying that as a God of War game, Chains of Olympus is slightly lacking, but as a PSP game, it's fantastic, and as a technological achievement, it's off the charts phenomenal. XPlay, which I think is on G4, has given the game 5 out of 5. I will now leave you a closing comments found on IGN.com from one of the editors, as well as God of War did get the editor's choice for IGN. And he says, God of War Chains of Olympus is a stellar achievement on the PSP. It plays perfectly into the franchise's storyline and offers up the same level of intense action as its console counterparts. It's also the best looking title on the system without question, engaging from start to finish. Chains of Olympus is a mandatory purchase for anyone who owns a PSP and doesn't mind getting a little blood on their hands. This has been another edition of Voice of Reason's Game Review. Take care, guys.
God of War, Chains of Olympus, rated M for mature PSP.
Is there anything we can do to repay you? Thank you, my lord.